So, to get started, my name is Lee Mulberry, and I'm on the district board for the Peaceful Schools program. And so my role is to help you understand what the program is all about, get you excited about doing it, get you prepared to do it, and then get out of the way and let you do it. Okay? We have a whole bunch of people here to help you. And in fact, in a little while, we're going to have even more Rotarians here. But we have some of the Interact kids from Mountain Vista High School here because we're going to talk as a group for a while and then break you up into smaller groups and actually practice delivering. Actually taking the books, and there are different books for each grade, and there are 4 books per grade, so each of the times you go, you'll have a different book. These kids have put together a lesson plan as well with the questions and stuff so that you can have a discussion with the kids. That's what it's all about. It's not just reading to them. Okay? And one of the things I want to make sure that you guys understand very clearly, and I probably will say this more than once, don't worry about making mistakes. These kids aren't going to care. They aren't going to know. They are going to love you. I promise. Am I right? Yes. They will love having you there. So you can't go wrong. Okay? What else? Expectations. I think I've got, anybody have any different expectations or any questions at this point as to what you'd like to see or anything? We okay? Okay, timing. Hopefully us standing up here, John, at you is going to last less than half an hour. And then what we want to do is break you up into smaller groups and actually work on it. Okay? But we want to get through a few things that will help you understand why we're doing this, okay? So the first thing I want to do is give you an idea of who you're going to be facing. Okay, some of you have siblings and stuff, and I found this kind of fun. So I've got 2 different things to read to you. This was a group went to some 4 to 8-year-olds and asked the question, what does love mean? And here's some of the answers. When someone loves you, they say your name different. You know that your name is safe in their mouth. 4-year-old boy. Love is when a girl puts on perfume and a boy puts on cologne and they go out and smell each other. Love is what happens in the room at Christmas if you stop opening presents and listen. Wow. If you want to learn to love better, you should start with someone you hate. That's an 8-year-old girl. Love is when you tell the guy you like his shirt and then he wears it every day. My mommy loves me more than anyone. You don't see anyone else tucking me in and kissing me goodnight. Love is when your puppy licks your face even after you've left him alone all day. 4-year-old girl. I know my sister, the young ladies will get a kick out of this. I know my sister loves me because she gives me all of her old clothes and then just has to go out and buy new ones. Okay, this was a teacher that took her first graders and said, these are old sayings, okay, and you'll probably remember what the follow-on is, but she said the beginning of it and then had them finish it, okay? Don't change horses until they stop running. Smile while the bug is close. Don't bite the hand that looks dirty. A miss is as good as a mister. You can't teach an old dog new math. If you lie down with dogs, you'll stink in the morning. Love all, trust me. The pen is mightier than the pigs. Where there's smoke, there's pollution. Happy the bride who gets all the presents. A penny saved is not much. Two's company, three's the Musketeers. Don't put off till tomorrow what you put on when you go to bed. There are none so blind as Stevie Wonder. Children should be seen and not spanked or grounded. If at first you don't succeed, get new batteries. You get out of something only what you see on the picture in the box. When the blind lead the blind, get out of the way. A bird in the hand is going to poop on you. And here's the winner. Better late than pregnant. First graders. First graders. So that brings up, I want to echo a comment that Jim Conrad told you, and that is that when you get into these groups with these kids, don't be surprised at what they ask you or what they say. Try to just go with the flow. And some of it may not be overly appropriate. Don't worry about it. Just go on, okay? Any comments or thoughts? So that's what we're dealing with, okay? Kind of fun. Actually, real fun. So let's talk about Rotary a little bit. How many of you are interactors? Cool. And then DECA is the other part for most of you? Cool. All right, just to give you a little bit of background for those of you that might not know, Rotary was started in the 1911 or something like that by a guy named Paul Harris. And the goal was to get other business people, at that time other businessmen, together and talk about their problems and issues and network. And it has grown to, there are 34,282 clubs around the world and 1.2 million Rotarians. The good news is that in 1977, Rotary allowed women to join. And anybody that is honest and around will tell you that that saved Rotary, because we were rapidly becoming an old white man's club. And we really need that infusion. Today, there are, most clubs are very integrated. Highlands Ranch has probably 45% women. And so it's made a huge difference in the world of Rotary. So our basic organizational structure is we have what we call Rotary International, which is headquartered in Chicago. And in fact, the Rotary International president, who we change every year, is from India. And he will be here in a little while, if you want to meet him later. He just happens to be in town for a big dinner that's going on tonight. And we had some meetings with him this morning, and he wanted to attend the training and see what we do here. Because Peaceful Schools is quite new, and it's only in what we call our district. So we've got Rotary International, which is worldwide, and then we have different countries, and in the U.S. we have zones, which are 5 or 6 states, and then we have districts. You don't need to remember this junk. It's just trying to give you a little context. We have 65 clubs in our district, and this is where we started Peaceful Schools. Okay, we're in 15 schools right now, and we've got, what, a dozen on the horizon, at least, that we're working on. So it's growing fast. People hear about it and see the results, and you'll hear about that in a little while from Carla and Julie about some of the results, some of the surveys and stuff. It's been absolutely fantastic. And in fact, one of the cool things about Interact is we got a call a couple weeks ago from a woman that is a teacher at a new charter school in Green Valley Ranch. And she said, I was an interactor when I was in high school 100 years ago. I would like to start an Interact club here. So that's the kind of impact that it's had. Pretty cool. One of the biggest things that Rotary does is try to make an impact on the community. And that's the essence of why we're here. Okay? One of the advantages of this program for you guys and for the elementary schools is it costs them nothing. We provide all of the funding for it. We buy all the books. We make sure that you have the lesson plans. You can see some of the kids from Mountain Vista have t-shirts on. We provide those. It's really helpful when you go to the elementary school and you all have the t-shirt on so they know what you're there for and the kids identify you. Because they'll be looking for you, especially when it comes around to that 3rd week waiting for the 4th week. What else can I tell you? We have what we call, you know what, I didn't bring in those posters. Can I get you to go out to the car? They're in the back seat right behind the driver's seat. Just got the little car. Okay. We have a creed that we live by in Rotary. It's called the four-way test. And it's of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's a bit of a mouthful for first, second, third graders. And so, are you looking for it? I should remember the four questions.
Yes, probably now.
Anyway, we'll have them here in a few minutes. Anyway, we simplified those into 4 awesome questions. And we have big posters that you'll be shown a little bit later. And that's something that you'll go over with the kids all the time. And we ask the teachers to post that in their rooms. Because it's like, is it the truth? Is it fair? Will it be good for friendships? And is it good for everybody? Okay, there we go. Hey, I got them right. Okay, and so we got big laminated posters that go in the room. So we tried to take the principles that Rotarians live by and simplify it for the kids. So that is a big part of the program. Okay? One of the other things I want to make sure that you understand, and part of my teaching philosophy is repetition. So you're probably going to hear the same things a couple times because I don't know what you're thinking about when I tell you. So I don't assume everybody hears. Just like with Rotary International, we have an overarching program, but the clubs can do what they want. Okay? We're going to teach you how to deliver this program, and we're going to show you the fundamentals and the tools. Make it your program. If you come up with a better way to do it, or you want to do it slightly different, go for it. Okay? You cannot make a mistake. Is that okay with you guys? Cool. Okay. Why Rotary is involved? Because it's consistent with our purpose and what we call our avenues of service. So the purpose is to teach young kids to identify their emotions and the alternatives to their behaviors that are available to them. If you want to get into a little bit of technical terms, there is the amygdala, which is in the back of your brain, and that is, some people call it your lizard brain. That's something that every animal has. It's fight or flight, okay? And it's a very core, basic reaction. You have a prefrontal cortex, which is your reasoning brain. There is no physiological connection between those two, okay? And so what you have to do is instill a logical connection. And that's part of what we're doing. We're saying, hey, if you're angry, what are you going to do about it? How do you handle it when you know she's angry? Okay? Are you going to be hurt because you think it's your fault? Well, it may not have anything to do with you. She may have had a fight with her mom. Who knows? So there are ways to handle it. So the second poster that we'll show you is called an emotions poster, and it has, 30 plus pictures with a description of the emotion. That's another piece of what you're going to use to teach these kids. What are you feeling? How do you identify it? There we go. I'm glad somebody's prepared, better than I am. We'll show you the big one of these. But again, it's just saying, what am I feeling and what's the cause of it? You know, in the adult world, we call it emotional intelligence. And it's something that we're teaching leadership all the time, is the emotional intelligence. Understanding yourself and your impact on others. And that's the way that you can be effective in this, is understanding yourself and your impact on others. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Cool. That's enough of that. Why don't you guys talk about the impact that we've had and some of that kind of stuff.
My name is Julie Solnett, and I am a first grade teacher. And the program, Peaceful Schools program, was started in my classroom 3 years ago. And since then, we've grown from one first grade classroom, and this year they're in 3 first grade, 3 second grade, and 3 third grade classrooms. Last year after the program, we did a survey, And we surveyed the 6 teachers that were involved with it, and 100% of the teachers thought the Peaceful Schools program was relevant, appropriate, and effective in their classroom. And 100% of the teachers wanted the program back next year, and other teachers in the building also wanted the program. We also surveyed the 1st and 2nd grade students that had the program last year, and there were about 141 of those students took the survey. 96% of the elementary students liked the Peaceful School program and the lessons. 98% of the elementary students liked the 4 awesome questions. 89% of the elementary schools said that students said they think about the 4 awesome questions when deciding how to handle a situation with a friend. And 80% of the elementary schools reported that thinking about the program has changed what they were planning to say or do. So it definitely has made an impact on the kids, and the teachers love the program. As an elementary teacher, some of the things that I've seen as benefits of the program, number one, like Lee said, the kids love the high school kids coming. They can't wait. They see them in the hallway, and we do it a little different. We, since we have 3 grade levels, the kids come every other month. They'll do 1st grade 1 month, and then 2nd and 3rd, or they'll switch off each month. And if the kids see like the 1st graders see the high school kids in the hallway, and they're not coming to their classroom if it's 2nd or 3rd grade's turn, they get really disappointed, and oh, when is it going to be our turn? So they're very excited to see you. And also, like Lee said, don't worry about making mistakes. They just love having the kids come. Last year, my class was very challenging. And this was one time where, when we split up into groups and had the high school kids reading with the elementary kids, they were completely engaged. You couldn't hear any extra talk going on. They were just so engaged, whereas other times, if I'm just up talking all day long, it's not like that all the time. So they just love having the high school kids come. Another benefit that I see, some of the quiet kids, some of the kids that don't want to raise their hand in large group, some of the kids that don't want to participate in large group, in small group, I couldn't believe some of them that barely spoke at all would be, oh, I have an example of that, and oh, I think the book meant this, and I think this was going to happen next. And they were fully engaged and participated in the program. The biggest thing, I think, is that the kids are just joyful when the high school kids are in there. And there's a lot of respect between them. Really look up to the high school kids, especially like you are lucky because the elementary school you're going to work with is right on the same area. And they know, oh, those are the high school kids. Someday I'm going to go to that high school, or they'll go to a basketball game or a football game or some kind of activity at the high school. And, oh, I saw so-and-so. They read to me last month. And, so you're just huge role models for them, and the kids, it just brings them a lot of joy. Have any questions about that? Okay.
So my name is Carla Olson, and my daughter Sarah is a part of the program. So I have all sorts of perks. My background is elementary education, so I get to visit the elementary school and then I get to leave. I get to spend time with my own daughter, and I get to be a part of Peaceful Schools and also work with my friends that are in Rotary. And so I present to you as the high school adult liaison. And the first and only really important thing that I will tell you, and then I'll tell you a few other things, but the most important thing is the hardest part of the program you've done already, and that is you signed your name, said you wanted to do it, and you showed up. Because the rest of it is really easy and fun. And so just deciding in your own mind that it's a commitment you want to make is absolutely the hardest part. The rest of it is really easy. And it should be really fun. It's designed, the program is designed to be fun for you and for the younger kids. As Julie said, the elementary school students are in heaven from the second their school door opens and they see the big kids have arrived. Like, it is a cool day in elementary school when the door opens and the high school kids arrive. So you guys are it, and they love it. That being said, I would encourage you to be mindful of what you say and what you do from the minute that you walk in the door. Okay, because if you're walking in with your friend and you're talking about something that maybe is appropriate for high schoolers but not elementary schoolers, that's when they listen the best, is when you're not talking to them and they think they might catch something that they're not supposed to hear. So do be mindful of how you conduct yourselves from the minute you walk in the door until the minute that you leave. And like when you're done with your session, don't start talking about like a kid in your group that was squirrely or something like that. Wait till you're well out of the building and, you know, things like that. So be mindful that they are absolutely glued to you. The other thing is, just like we've all said, have a great time, really enjoy yourself, because if you're having fun, they're gonna have fun. If you act like you think it's cool, they're gonna think it's doubly cool. So just have a really good time and enjoy. If you see that they're going off topic a little bit, don't worry about that. Unless they start talking about things that are inappropriate, or they're naming names of other students or family members or other individuals and being specific, then you might say, you know what, that might hurt feelings, so let's just go back to what we were doing. But if there's something that's on their hearts and they're talking about it and it's appropriate, you know, go ahead and go with that for a little bit of time and enjoy that. And the last gift that the program gives you, if you accept it that way, is as you're teaching these lessons, look at how what you're teaching is reflected in your own life, with your friends, with your family, as you go out in the community, because it's a great opportunity to just look within ourselves and make sure that we're being the best people that we can be each and every day, and just really have a great time. And remember, I said the only important piece is that the hardest part is already over, and now you just get to have fun. So thank you, and the kids will have lots of answers to questions, but Julie and I are here too. If there's any questions you have or things that we can be helpful with, please feel free to just stop us.
Great, thank you. Cool. How you guys doing? Here are my posters I was supposed to have. These get posted in each one of the classrooms, hopefully all the time. But you can see here, you know, the different emotions. You know, it's not easy to identify how you're feeling and why. And that's part of what you'll learn in this whole program, is you'll learn some of these emotions and identify them within yourself, and then the impact it has on others. Okay? That's one of the benefits that you'll get out of it as well. Okay, let's talk about details. Typically, there are at least 4 sessions in a year, so there's 4 books per grade. This can be expanded. It's very flexible, but we've got basically 4 left because of the timing for this year. Okay? It takes about 45 minutes to an hour from the time you walk out the door here to the time you're back in. Okay? The time in the classroom, 25, 30 minutes. One of the things you have to remember when you walk in the door, you've got to go to the office and they either sign you in. What some of them have done now is they just give you a sticker to put on, especially if you're wearing a shirt where they can identify who you are. So there's not just some stranger walking around in their school. You can all understand that, I'm sure. Different books for each grade. Program materials, the posters, the books, and you can see there's, I don't know how many different books are here. There's got to be...
There should be
12 different books.
11.
Oh, right, 11.
First and second grade, we use one.
Use one book. Okay. And then, like I said, there is lesson plans for each of the books. So that'll give you the guide. We'll go over those today. But again, as you get going, you can use your own stuff. I think that's it. Okay, from a logistical standpoint, and I just talked with your president, and she's going to act, she and her board, as what we call the program champion. okay, to make sure that she has enough people. If we do all 14 classrooms at the same time, it's going to take approximately 52 of you, okay, to break up into the smaller groups to make it effective. All right, and then what we'd like to do also is have what we call a room champion. Okay, so you're assigned to a teacher, to a grade, to a specific classroom. And the goal is to keep you and your team in that classroom so the kids get to know you and resonate with you more, okay? And so be thinking about if you want to be a room captain, and then you'll have to choose up who's going to be on the team. And we'll leave that to you later. You handle that however you want to do it. But that's our suggestion. You do not have to do it then. Okay? Any thoughts on that? Any comments? Julie or Carla?
No, I think we're good.
So when you go into the room, and again, the kids will go over this, but the first thing you do is introduce yourself. It's really cool if you have a fun way to do that, some way that's memorable. You know, my name is Lee, and my favorite animal is a buffalo. Whatever. You know, my favorite activity is to throw darts. Who cares what it is? Just something that makes it memorable and fun. And then at the end, finishing up, you have activities to start with, get them going. You talk about the posters each and every time, and then you break up. Okay? We've got activities that we suggest that you use for the first time or so. You can use those. If you come up with better ones, use those. Okay? Get them moving, get them happy. If you can get them singing, if you're so inclined, that works wonderfully. Wonderfully. And we've got a CD, I don't think I brought it in, with the Peter, Paul, and Mary stuff. We've got other songs that you can do. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. And then you typically bring them back together at the end and reinforce everything that you have said. The rule that we teach when we teach executive and speech making is tell them what you're going to say it, and tell them what you said. So it's kind of the same thing with you. You start at the beginning with the posters and stuff, you tell them what you're going to talk about, you go through the books and you talk about it, and then you tell them what you said. Okay? Repetition is important. How many repetitions does it typically take to create a habit? Anybody know? 144. 144 repetitions to make it a habit. Okay? How many repetitions does it take to make you an expert? 10,000. 10,000 times to make you an expert at it. Okay? So repetition is the key to learning. So just remember that. Okay. I think that's it. I think we got it. Okay, I'm going to leave it to you guys.
Okay, so Sarah and I are going to quickly go over a few things. I'm Sarah.
I'm also Sarah.
So that's easy to remember. And those are our moms, too. So that's nice as well. But they have different names. They're just not very creative, apparently. So we have some other people from our high school, too, here as well. And at our school, we have our Interact Club and our DECA program working together to deliver the Peaceful Schools program in elementary schools, just like you guys. And Sarah's going to start by going over what we do first when we go into the classroom. What I'm doing now, I'm kind of introducing ourselves. You'll probably need to do that for the first few times. And then, like, the kids will start to remember you, too. And sometimes I work there, too, so they call me Miss Sarah and they call her Sarah. So that's fun, too. I think that's awesome. And so Sarah's going to go over what we do first, which is 4 awesome questions.
Yeah, so the first thing we go in, and like she said, we introduce ourselves, tell them we're from Mountain Vista and from the Peaceful Schools program, and then the first visit we teach them the 4 awesome questions. So we show them this poster and say these are questions you should ask themselves before you think, say, or do something. And then we go over each one, kind of not too in depth because they're pretty, we've changed them to simple words. So they understand these words, and if they don't, then we kind of go over them.
Can everyone hear us okay? Okay, perfect. And so these are the 4 questions. You want to just read through them real quick?
Yeah, so the first one is it true? And then, so we're telling them we don't want to be lying to people. And then the second one,
try to avoid, okay. So elementary schoolers, if you use words like liar or stupid or things like that, I work at elementary school and all the time they're like, she called me the S word. And I was like, okay, well, what was it? It could be anything. It could be silly. It could be stupid. So just being careful of the language that you use with them because they do avoid language like stupid, liar. Also, we'll talk about the word hate at some point too. Like those kind of words are very sensitive too, and we want to stay away from.
Yes, we'll say the importance of telling the truth, and then the importance of being fair to everybody. The third one is will it help build friendship, and then the fourth one is will it be good for everyone.
And what's really fun is once you have been in there once and this poster's up in their classroom, you'll go back in there and you'll ask, do any of you remember any of the 4 awesome questions? And then their hands shoot up and they remember all 4 most of the time. So that's really awesome. It's really only the first lesson that you go in that you'll be reading all 4 to them. And then after that, for the other 3, they should be able to give you those themselves. And then after we go over those, we like to break into small groups. And as Miss Julie was talking about before, when they're in the small groups, the kids feel a lot more comfortable in engaging in discussions. So when you're in your small group, you'll have a book to read with them, and that's why we have our awesome high school volunteers here with us as well. We'll break into groups later and show you guys the book and the discussion questions that go along with them and how that works. And you read a book in that group, and usually you come back together.
Yeah, so then you come back together and you kind of reiterate the main theme of the book and kind of the big theme of the lesson. So did we already talk about how it's broken down into 4 themes?
No.
Repeat it, it's okay.
So we broke down the
Repeat
4
it 10,000 times so you're in it.
You'll be here a while.
Yeah.
We broke down the different themes into caring, compassion, and cooperation. That's one theme. And then resolving conflict creatively, celebrating diversity, and I always forget them all.
Expressing feelings?
Yeah, expressing feelings. So those are the 4 lessons. So then we kind of do a discussion saying how the book relates to that, which kind of the questions go there too. So if there is a really important question, the group leader will just say, again, ask that question and just kind of emphasize that kind of big theme. And then you can ask them questions and get all the class involved as well.
And as Mr. Lee was talking about earlier, you'll have a class champion for each classroom, and that person will be leading the group discussion at the end. So what's really cool about the program is it's very simple, it's very easy. You go in there, your classroom leader will go over the 4 awesome questions, you split into small groups, and that's where each one of you is a leader with your small group, and you usually only have like 3 or 4 kids in each group. And you read the book with them, you come back together, your class leader will do some sort of activity, and then discussion, and then there goes your however long you're spending 30 minutes in the
It
classroom.
goes so fast.
And
You won't
also
feel
we,
one.
as the song that you're playing when you come in, we usually play a song at the end when we're leaving. Peter Yarrow was part of, he sings all these songs, and so they're very fun. And it's funny because Sarah and I at first when we were hearing the songs, we were like, are they gonna like these songs? And it's so funny because her class would ask for it all the time. They were like, they're doing their work while they're writing. They're like, can we hear the songs again?
Yeah, and we did a lesson on Thursday, and we were both done with our lessons, and one was still playing the song we looked in.
They were
All the
jamming
kids were
out.
like dancing and singing along, so they definitely do enjoy
that's a fun
that.
part of it as well. So that's what it looks like when you go into a classroom, and more specifically what you'll be doing when you read with your small group. We'll have each one of our high school kids, if you guys want to come up here. Yeah. Okay, well, introduce your names. If you guys don't remember our names, we have name tags. So, I'm Sarah.
I'm Sarah. Haley. Cassie.
Olivia.
Brianna.
I'm Bradley.
And we'll break into groups. I think there's about
50 of you guys.
50 of you, and there's 7 of us, so I think that's about 7 per group. So if you guys want to get into your own groups, and then come up, and one of you will go with whoever, and we'll just kind of break into the small groups and spread out, and go over how we're going to read the book.
And you can spread out in here, you can go out in the hallway, whatever.